That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.
Rough.
Yeah, UPS just dropped something off at my front door, and the dog is freaking out. Come here, hey.
Is it fishing? You got fishing lures coming?
No, I think Chelsea's setting up a little desk space for herself in the spare bedroom, so I think she ordered a desk for her there. So,
Well,
what is going on,
folks?
OneCast fans? Welcome to the OneCast. If you joined us in time, then you heard. I was surprised. It sounded like StreamYard changed their countdown music, so that was different. Wasn't expecting that. As always, make sure you head to onecastfishing.com. Use the code the OneCast. CarolinaWatersNC.com. Code the OneCast. Use our link. Check out Hobie Eyewear. Grab yourself a pair of the floating frame glasses. Hit up Deep Dive app in your app store, and Terry Carpenter, licensed NC Realtor here in North Carolina if you're looking for property. We're going to do an abbreviated version tonight because we found that we enjoy talking about the folks we work with so much that we end up spending hours. Not hours, but like, what was the one we clocked? We were like 14 minutes, and that's a little bit.
Yeah, it was kind of long.
So I'm sure you see, it's just Ben and I. Trey took a last-minute trip to Florida with Seth Ellis to do a little fishing. Seth needed to break his boat. What's going on, Dave Fuchs? Welcome, brother. Seth needed to get his boat rolling before the first NPFL event, and he drove to where it was warm-ish. And then Ben's leaving tomorrow to go to Florida.
Well, Sunday, hopefully. Sunday, not tomorrow.
Saturday, that's right.
I do want to say, if you folks are looking to stock up, we mentioned if you wanted to get the One Cash products. If we put your order in tonight, I'll have it out in the mail tomorrow. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait till like March 10th for anything to get shipped out. And I do want to show also around that time, we'll have the two new colors for the Nighthawk. This is the Sunfish Laminate, just like in our Warthog. And this is the one Pete's been waiting for. The pearl right here, just the white for flipping on beds, using on spinner baits, buzz baits, swim jigs, whatever you want. So those are coming too, but you'll have to wait a couple of weeks before you can actually order them because I want to go do some fishing and go get warm down south.
Yeah, I just went over to Ben's and picked up a bunch of the old Pearl Nighthawks, 500 of them, or maybe a little more tonight. So looking forward to flipping season here in North Carolina. Flipping season in Florida. That's where Trey is. That's where Ben will be Sunday sometime. So again, very jealous. But two major series. Well, the elites are there right now, fishing northern Florida, St. John's. I guess you can call that northern Florida. It's pretty much right after you cross into Florida. It's not too far south. Last week, was it last week or the week before? BPT was on Okeechobee.
No, they were at Harris Chain.
Or Harris Chain, that's right, Harris Chain. And then also the invitationals are on Kissimmee Chain. Kissimmee? Is it Kissimmee?
Chain, yep.
I don't think there's an N in there. I don't know how you say it. I said it wrong to make Mike Johns mad, and now I can't say it right. So, but yeah, they're down there on that chain of lakes, Kissimmee Chain. So Florida, it's Florida season. What's going on, Smallwater? Smallwater Charters, glad to have you back. Our Okeechobee friend down there, Christine. What's up, David Fuchs? We did miss you. Yeah, I hope you made it up to Christine for being on for Valentine's Day. What's going on, Tim? Triani, welcome, brother. But yeah, we were just talking. So Bobby Lane won down there in Harris Chain. You know, a Florida boy won a Florida tournament, which isn't an easy thing to do. I don't know if he's a Florida native, but he's lived there for quite some time. I can't remember if he grew up in Florida or not, but him and Chris both live there now. So it is Kissimmee. So yeah, okay, Kissimmee. We got it straightened out from a Florida guide down there. I'm still trying to figure out where Donkey Land is at, so we can make a trip. But yeah. So Chris Lane won that one. Bill Lowen is pulled away. We said pulled away, but you know, he has a less than 10-pound lead, 8 and some change, which on Florida, that doesn't mean anything. What did we, you know, Ben and I were talking a little bit ago in his garage. What was it Rick Clun dropped like in 19? Wasn't it like a 30 like a 38-pound bag on that Saturday.
Yeah, it was like 31 or something, or one of them might have been 38. I forget what he had on
I'm gonna pull
championship
that up
Sunday
while we're
too.
talking.
But that was very different conditions. There was a much more of a warming trend happening than it is right now. So, I mean, we'll see. But Bill Lowen, I mean, day one had 21 pounds. Today he had 24. He's been the most. I mean, there's been a couple of guys who've been consistent with like 18 pounds, 17 pounds, but he's been, these 2 days he's found the big bags. Like Jay, he had a great bag yesterday, but fell off the board today. Seth was consistent. The other guys were pretty consistent. Although Joey Fuentes, he made a move today. He jumped up. He had 12 pounds yesterday and had over almost 20. So yeah.
Yeah, and there was some not giant bags today. That cold front hit last night. It didn't get above 50 today, but it's supposed to warm up here. So I think that one is gonna fish a little bit different. They started to see some fish moving up on beds yesterday for day one of the event, and it was a little bit weird. So I'm pulling up Clun right here. Let's see. Day one he wasn't even in the top 10 on day one.
I don't know if that was the 19 or the 16 event.
I'm looking at the 19 one now, but they started to have some Rick. He had 17 pounds on day one. Day two, he had, I know if it's that one, he dropped that giant bag. He dropped 23 on day two, and this one to put him into sixth. Day three, he dropped, if it'll load, Bass is doing Bass things. There we go. He actually dropped a little bit day three. He dropped 23 pounds, so consistent day three. Day four, he came back at one from sixth place, so he had to have dropped a bag at 19. Let's see. It's loading right now.
I'm trying to bring it up here on.
It's pulling up right now, day four. 34-14 on day four. So he came from sixth to first with an almost 35-pound bag. So it can happen down there.
On 16 or 19?
That was 19.
So in 16, I had day three up, but he had like in the teens on day 1 and 2 and had 31 on day 3. And I'm seeing what he has on day 4 if I will pull up here. Come on now. Bassmasters have been having problems with their website. They need to fix this.
Yeah, it's running super slow. What's up, Dana Tabarini? Dana's got an episode coming up. We had to cancel because of Snowmageddon 2.0 this past week, so we got him scheduled to come in again here week after next and talk about some North Carolina saltwater fishing and idiots on the internet, basically, for lack of a better term. But yeah, so they're fishing the elites. While you look at that, the elites are fishing right now. Florida, Trey's fishing Florida right now. Ban will be fishing Florida next week, and I'm here in North Carolina, not fishing.
Yeah, in 16 on day 1, he had 16-11. He had 14-13 on day 2. Was in 30th place. So on day 3, he dropped that 31-pound bag and jumped up to first.
So he dropped 31 pounds in 16 and 34 in 19. So we're looking forward to it too, brother. But so it can happen in Florida. A little over 8-pound lead for Bill Lowen right now going into day 3. Lots of familiar faces made the cut. John Cruz, who's super consistent on that body of water. A few others. I know you're fishing Florida tomorrow, small water charters. You're blessed to be down there in Okeechobee. So I know you'll be fishing somewhere, jacking giants. Super jealous. We're planning a trip for next year already, trying to figure out a little south to north Florida adventure to go down there and snatch some donks. So looking forward to that. I'm still just trying to get ready for 2025 tournament season. I haven't even run my boat yet. We got some warm weather coming finally. I've got everything ready to roll. If you're in North Carolina, central North Carolina, shout out to our buddies over there at Elevate Outdoors, Carry One Cast Fishing. you can roll in there if you have a Mercury, Suzuki, or Yamaha. Get your motor worked on, warranty work, routine service, whatever it is. If you're looking to buy a boat, check them out. But I got to get mine in there. I've been dealing with what is a warranty issue without taking it in to get it fixed because I didn't want to drive. We didn't really have a great Bass Pro is really good, but it's far for me to drive with work. So I didn't really have a service place close that I knew and trusted. We got Elevate, so they're set up now with their Mercury stuff. So I'm going to take my boat in next week to finally get the trim issue that I've been self-fixing for the last 2 years fixed correctly. We also found out, interesting, man, I don't know, I'd have to show this to you. I'll take a picture and send it to you. Trey and I, when I was fixing my trim last year, I put a new trim sensor in it, even though that wasn't the problem. I was just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks because why drive it to a dealer and do things the right way? But we noticed between where my lower unit bolts on, there is a random bolt that is just laying in that. You know how there's a void space between your lower and the so it's not an upper, but I'm going to call it the upper. Where it bolts on, there's a little bit you can see between the two. There's just some seals and stuff in there. Well, there's a bolt in there that's just laying there. And I'm pretty sure it's been there probably since I bought the boat, and I just never noticed it till last year. So I'm going to get them to open that up and see what's going on. But yeah, so once that's done, I'll get out and run it and do a little fishing. So Smallwater said he'll hook us up. Looking forward to it, man. We'll definitely reach out when we're getting ready to go down there. I heard my dog chewing on something. I thought he was eating a picture frame or something. I'm redoing my office, and there's stuff all over the place. What'd you say? Yeah, I'm holding down the fort, Dave. Everybody's going to be in Florida. Super jealous. I could have went with Trey and them, but I would have had to take today off, and I would have had to pull out of some commitments that I'd already made for this weekend. So decided to do the right thing and honor those commitments, even though I really wanted to go to Florida and go fishing. Have you figured out where you're going to go yet, Ben? Or are you still trying to?
No, well, I'm going to go to Kissimmee Chain again because I've been to Harris Chain, I've been to Okeechobee, of course, going down next week. I don't want to be there when the elites are there. That's just a lot of, I don't want to be. One, I don't want to be fishing around them when they're on that body of water because I'm going to have to follow them around and sore lip all their fish because the bent rod pattern worked pretty well down there. So I'll I've done the Harris Chain too. So, and St. John's, although probably by the end of next week we'll be turning on. So maybe I'll go there on the way back or something. But Kissimmee Chain, and I'll probably stay up close to Orlando. So probably spend most of my time on Toho.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was probably the closest ramp, but I'll explore a few of them to see which one's kicking off. And I really tomorrow and then probably Sunday as I'm driving down, I'm going to have the invitationals on probably instead of the elites, just because I want to know what's going on Toho and Kissimmee. So when I get out there Monday, I get a little better idea. But Donkeyland's 15 miles from Overstreet Ramp on Kissimmee. Oh, okay. He put the lake in there too. Current.
I'm Googling it right now. There it is. Oh man, does that look juicy?
So I haven't
100 acres.
I don't know exactly where I'm going to stay at yet. I haven't picked that out.
I don't know, but I think I would go fish that.
Oh, I might. I've kind of kept it all open. What I want to do. So
there've been 27 10 to 12.9 pounders caught, 13 pluses. And 194 8 to 9.
Oh, that's right. That's right by Headwaters. Fells Mill Reservoir is Headwaters.
Is he talking about that or Kenansville Lake?
Well, I just looked up Kenansville Lake, and that is right next to. I don't think they're connected, but
average depth of. Oh, but it's right in that same area. Okay.
I mean, it's literally. Let's do a map measurement. 3 miles.
He said they've got 17 over 8 pounds in the last 5 years. Flooded.
They're literally 3 miles difference between the two. Okay.
I thought. Oh, I guess Headwaters isn't as far south as I thought it was.
No, and we all call it Headwaters, but I think it's technically Fellsmere Reservoir. It's got Blue Cypress Lake there, and a couple different ones, but it is. Well, I guess it's about halfway between.
It says the average water depth is 3 foot. I like it. That sounds like my kind of lake.
Yeah.
3 foot. That's what I'm talking about. I can go in there and just freaking throw a frog all day. Oh yeah, let's do it. I'm putting that on the list for next year.
Yeah. So what I got rigged up. If anyone's curious right now, what all I have rigged up right now.
Yeah. What you got there?
So I've got a buzz bait rigged up, 911 buzz bait. I'll be throwing the Pearl Nighthawk with that. I've got a lipless crank. I've got a long neck hook, Texas rigged, pegged for a speed worm. I've also got a 3/4 ounce tungsten flipping setup for a creature bait, probably Nighthawk or Warthog. I got a jerk bait, snagless bladed jig, snagless swim jig, got a frog, got a popper on, a swim bait. I got the new Strike King one. I forget what they call it. The Strike One swim bait.
Oh, the final copy.
Yeah, the copy one. So I haven't thrown one of those yet, so I got that tied on, and I still need to rig up a punch jig, and then I'll probably have a net and stuff, some finesse stuff rigged up.
I'm looking.
Oh yeah, wacky rig. I need to rig up a wacky rig
on Google Earth. That looks juicy.
Yeah, so I got all my bases covered, I think, for down there.
You should be good, and then you're going to find one thing that works, and that's what you're going to throw.
Yeah, and hopefully it's one of the One Cash products so I can make content. That's the goal. But hey, if it's a lipless crank, it's a lipless crank or a jerk bait. Whatever the fish tell me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I still got to get all my GoPros and make sure they all work still and get all that stuff figured out tomorrow. But
yeah, I've started to get my GoPros and stuff prepped for this year.
Oh yeah, spinnerbait. Got a spinnerbait rigged up too. That's right. That's right, Rick.
Sorry if that sound came through. I was looking up his small water charters. Oh, usually used to do a live on Friday nights too. Small water. Cool, man. A lot of paddle tails and flukes. Yeah, Bruiser I know is big down there, right? That's one of the big Florida ones. Do you your Donkeyland videos? Do you call them Donkeyland? So I'm gonna go in there and watch a few of those, just to get a look at it. So so Fellsmere Reservoir, is that Headwaters? I think that's Headwaters, right?
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna check out some of your videos, man. That's awesome. I'm gonna throw you subscribe right now too. I don't know what I'm logged in as, but shoot you a subscribe. And I'll definitely go over and check out some of your videos. Yeah, there's one that just says Donkeyland, so I'm definitely going to watch that one. Appreciate you joining in. Yeah, spinnerbait passing through. He has one tied on. He might have forgot that, but I saw it when I was over there. That's another one of those staple Florida white spinnerbait, which kind of surprises me that white's so popular for spinnerbait in Florida. Just because their primary is gills and panfish, which usually are
but there's shad, there's tilapia, there's other stuff in there.
The tilapia, are shad fairly I don't know a ton. I've fished Florida one time. I don't know how prominent shad are.
They got all those type of shiner stuff too, and
that's true. The golden shiners in some of the lakes, and
so, but it's just you always got to have a spinnerbait tied on there. So I'll probably go without a trailer, just because I usually do. But
I'm not a big trailer on a spinnerbait. Yeah, I know a lot of people do. We've talked about it before, but something I probably should do more. But I've just gotten so used to. I know the reason a lot of folks throw them is to help with slowing down.
Yeah.
I've just gotten so accustomed to slowing down myself when I'm throwing certain types of spinnerbaits that for me it's like second nature. So I don't go put a bunch of weight on there to help slow down.
And a lot of time it's about the slow down on the fall, but like down there you're not fishing very deep, so I don't think it.
Yeah, like the average depth in all them places are like 3 foot, right? That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I think the Harris train's a little deeper, but
was looking to see what that dog was destroying. Yeah, Harris chain there's some deeper stuff, but I remember I fished Kissimmee chain with Mike Johns last year for a day. Well, a day and a half, really. And I just remember how shallow everything was. And it's wild. It's a whole different world down there if you've never fished Florida. So he said, shallow grassy fish, I like to tweak a paddle tail across top of hydrilla all day, every day. Top water blow-ups or nothing. That's right. Yeah, that taking a paddle tail over the top of the hydrilla and stuff is a killer technique that not a lot of people throw.
That's what I don't have rigged up yet. And it might be something I switch onto my spinnerbait rod is my underspin or just my belly weighted swim bait, like paddle tail swim bait hook.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't throw trailer hooks ever either, David. Like, unless they're really short striking. I see way too many fish get killed because of trailer hooks. Usually it's not a great deal. If they're eating a spinnerbait, and this is me talking, you're allowed to disagree. Remember, in fishing, it's not right. If they're eating a spinnerbait, you don't need a trailer hook. If they're not eating it to the point where I need a trailer hook, I usually going to switch baits and figure out something that they want a little bit better. But up north, we threw trailer baits or trailer hooks constantly. And like I said, you get a lot that are hooked in the gullet and stuff, tongue hooked with that trailer hook. So I'm just not a fan of them personally. But if it works for you, throw it. I don't know. You throw a trailer hook often, Ben? I do throw it on a buzzbait a little bit more because
I haven't thrown one in a long time. I don't have any right now, to be honest, to put on. So if that situation arises, I'm out of luck.
Yeah, I always have some. I just, like I said, I'll throw them on a buzzbait because a lot of times they'll miss the buzzbait and just grab the back skirt or something. They don't get a hook. But again, if they're really eating a buzzbait, you don't really need that trailer hook because usually I find they don't miss it a ton.
And I find with a spinnerbait, when they go to commit, they commit better. I mean, sometimes they'll slap at it and stuff. But with the buzzbait, when they're coming out of the water, like there's just an increased likelihood that they're just going to knock it out of the way.
Yeah.
And that's where that trailer hook advantage is. But
then you throw a Senko in and catch them.
That's also something I got to get rigged up.
Gotta have a Senko, man.
I think I'm running out of rods now. I don't know if I got enough to put all this stuff on now. Oh, it's okay.
Ducket rods and Shimano reels, what I use for charters. Heck yeah, man. I need to get spot choker and underspin. I use minnows on their tackle warehouse. Now, yeah, I've seen the spot chokers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bassing through. That's always been my belief. Now, the one caveat to that, and I'll say I've only seen it on a couple lakes, St. Clair being one of them. Smallmouth. There's a very short window with Great Lake smallmouth after they spawn before the water gets warm. Well, they'll push into the grass, and you can't reel a spinnerbait fast enough over the top of it. And it's a lot like a buzzbait or something like that, where they'll come up to try to get it and they'll miss. And a trailer hook can be beneficial there, but it's just because literally you're reeling that thing as fast as you possibly can, keeping the blades relatively under the water. Even when they come out of the water on occasion and stuff like that, they like that. That's the one time that I may throw a trailer hook if I'm on like St. Clair or Erie and that bites on. But like I said, that's a very short window of time when that works, and then they go back out to the rock piles and stuff.
And a lot of times, like if they're short striking or slapping another spinnerbait, before I change presentations, I want to try to change colors or change one with different blades on it, because sometimes that's what's going to, they're obviously interested to halfway commit on the spinnerbait, but maybe you just need that color change or that flash change a little bit to get them to fully commit. So a lot of times I try to switch out spinnerbaits first, and then if that doesn't work, figure out a different presentation.
Yeah. Yep. Smallheart Charter says, if a bass is over 6 foot deep, I have no clue how to catch it. Hey, that's fair, man. I wasn't very good at catching them more than 6 feet for a long time.
I like catching them deep.
Spot choker underspin. He makes some other stuff. Spot choker does too, doesn't he? Tony.
Hey, this is on a different note, but did you see Vector Hooks got a buyer, Pete?
I did, yeah. So they'll be if you ever were a fan of Vector Hooks, which I've used them for a lot of years. Just I have a lot of confidence in their hooks. They were going out of business, so they're still trying to sell their old stock off. So there is a 75% sale going on right now. But I ordered enough hooks that I probably won't need to buy hooks for the next 7 to 8 years. So I'm good, but yeah, I'm glad to see they're going to stick around. I especially like their treble hooks. So they make what they call the tornado treble, which it's a treble, but it has a little bit of twist to the hook shank, like coming out of the bend. There's just a little bit of a twist, and man, it just does such a good job of keeping fish pegged that I've been a fan of them. So I bought a pile of them when I thought they weren't going to be around anymore. Just to make sure that I had them because I swapped them out on all my treble baits. But yeah, it was cool to see they had a buyer. I'm glad they're still going to be around. They've been around about 5 years now. So
yeah, I don't know who's the post I saw. Some other fish hook company I think is getting them, but I don't know who's buying them. That haven't made that public yet. I think it said another folks involved in the fish hook industry. So.
Yeah, it might be Falcon Hooks, who I don't know. I think they were owned by what's his name that owns Titan Tungsten. I think he owned Falcon Hooks also, but he kind of got away from the hooks, so maybe he wanted to get back into it because if you don't know, he makes all his tungsten now in the U.S. So he was tired of doing the Chinese game like everybody, and he spent the money and bought the equipment and has it all to manufacture here in the U.S. and.
Yeah, so buy your tungsten from him because that's expensive equipment he had to get. That's a big capital investment.
Yeah, I've supported him, and I also support Angler Tungsten because Destin is friends with them. They're good people over there. But I try to buy my tungsten from him when he has it. Since he is making it here, he makes smaller batches than a lot of these other companies can order, so they come in and out of stock a lot. It's hard for him to sit back and up. Hey, hold on a second. Dogs were about to have some type of fish battle here beside me. What are you doing?
Yeah, the new puppy. Where's the puppy at? Show the puppy off.
Come here, little turd. Ugh. That's Chelsea's Christmas present to herself.
Yeah, I haven't actually met.
What's up, dude?
The little one yet.
What are you doing? What's going on? Here's all these. What are you doing? You being bad? Go back down. Go find something to do. Yeah, Chelsea's at a church thing, so I'm trying to watch him, and he's not happy that I'm not playing with him right now. But
oh wow, what do I got over here?
But yeah, Titan Tungsten's a good one if you're looking for made in the U.S. tungsten.
Oh, I forgot I had this up there. Actually, do you know what this is, Pete?
Let me see
if I get it untangled here.
That's a wiggle wart, isn't it?
It's an OG wiggle wart.
That is an OG wiggle wart, yeah, with the metal bill.
Yeah.
That's an interesting color.
Yeah, it's one of those colors they had, but I don't know where I got that at. I think I picked it up. It was probably some thrift shop. I got this old Hedon too, a little spy bait. Yeah, I should bring this down there and see if I can catch him on this.
The old Hedon prop bait.
Yeah.
Yeah, small order. Yeah, you can share your codes if you want to. Absolutely, man. Bruiser baits, Bass Addiction Gear, and Flat Out Tungsten. I've heard people using Flat Out too that really like it. I just haven't. I've been using what I have, so. But yeah, there's the bass. Bass fishing world is rolling. There hasn't been too much drama. You had a little bit of Keith. I guess I can't say that. There was a Keith Poche, Adrian Avina.
But Keith. Yeah, that was stupid.
Keith did come out and apologize and say he was wrong. So, sort of said he was wrong. He said he was wrong for going about it the way he did. He didn't say he was wrong that he was fishing an area because he saw him there. But You're gonna have that, man. You're gonna have that in these bigger tournaments. You're gonna have that in local mid-sized tournaments. You know, Trey and I ran into that last year where we had found fish on a specific bite and other guys found them and everybody was running to the same sort of area and setting down, you know, 150, 200 yards from each other, just kind of dropping in where they could. And so him and I got in where we got in, and we were about 200 yards around a point from a boat who wasn't fishing a tournament and about another 200 yards from the boat that was ahead of us. And the guy behind us that wasn't fishing a tournament came around the corner and yelled at us. Told us that would be the only time we would ever cut him off and blah, 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 blah. So I told him that we put in at Ledge Rock. So now, you know, it was at Falls Lake, and he could meet us at the ramp. Weigh-in was at 3 and he wasn't there. So, you know, whatever, but it's going to happen when you get these derbies and fish, you know, Florida, I'm sure small water can tell you. And if you watch the elites, Florida is one of those places that can fish extremely small. Especially a lake like Okeechobee, when you look how massive it is, it still can fish extremely small, where everybody's trying to get into a, you know, relatively small area because that's where the fish want to be. Same, I think he was Poche was on a Popka, you know, Jacob Wheeler was fishing a Popka, so obviously Avina was fishing a Popka, and it looks like it was a very specific area of that lake where the fish were. So a lot of guys were trying to get in there that wanted to fish it. And you're going to have that conflict, but yeah, running to social media and making a video and stuff, maybe wasn't the best way to go about that, but it is what it is. I feel like they post and counter post and then one apologize and it's probably dead. Fish tank affected D-land. They either biting or they're not. You can move around all day. Same. Okay. Yeah, I mean, 2,500 acres, relatively speaking, isn't a giant lake. So I imagine if weather something has them not eating, it probably affects the entire lake. Whereas a big chain like Harris or somewhere where you can run to these different lakes, you may be able to find something different going on. I don't know. Again, I'm not a Florida angler. I fished it exactly one time. So what's going on, Dave Raleigh? I have no doubt there's a lot of fish packed in there, man. You know, it looks juicy. I was looking at it on Google Maps and it looked juicy. There were some other lakes. Ben, why don't you talk about something?
So right now I'm on Google Earth looking on the Kissimmee chain right now. I'm looking, you know, I'll probably stay up closer to put on the boat ramp in the north end of Toho, and there's some nice canals in that area and up there. But then, like, if I want a canal fish, I think I need to, if that's the bite, I'm going to have to go through the Toho, go to Cypress Lake. There's a bunch of creeks and stuff off Cypress and canals. And then what's this other lake here that goes through? I have no idea. It starts with an H. But I'm just looking.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just looking. But I'll probably, I mean, there's going to be fish biting somewhere. It's just going to be trying to figure it out. And I heard about 3 weeks ago down in Toho, they were spraying. So I don't know.
On Toho?
Yeah. All the locals were mad. But then there were also people going out catching big bags too. So, like, I don't know how much it affects the fish.
So I was sent Lake Garcia. Have you ever heard of that small waters? Pete, what's the biggest lake you fish regularly in? Regularly? Probably. I don't really fish it regularly. I fish it once a year when the tournament goes there. Gaston, I usually fish twice a year. So honestly, probably Jordan.
Yeah.
But I do fish some bigger ones. And what's Jordan is
it's like 15,000.
Yeah,
14,700, something like that.
I think it's it's right at 14,000, 13,900. So 13,900 acres. We do fish Gaston once or twice a year. I'm gonna start fishing that one a little more just because
the spots.
Yeah, just I don't know. We figured some stuff out that's a little different. That's a lot of fun. Trey figured it out. I haven't gone up and done it yet, but let's see. Gaston's 20,000 acres. Jordan's 13,900 acres, David. What do you think is happening on Jordan with the water up in weather? Well, the water is still mid 40s, and it's 7 feet high. So for me, absolutely nothing. There's 0% chance you're going to see me go out there because that lake, cold, high, and muddy, is one of the most miserable places you'll ever fish in your life. You need a solid 3 weeks of warm weather for Jordan to flip right now.
Yeah, it's going to be because we had all that snow and cold. I mean, for 2 days straight of like 33 degrees and rain. So it's just nasty cold rain coming in and running off. And Pete and I were talking earlier. We still think it's going to be relatively normal spawn, but we're a little behind schedule right now so far. But it's supposed to warm up. So we'll see.
Let me read a couple of these. Ron Singletary, y'all going to be at Greensboro show this weekend. One cast won't be there. I'll be there tomorrow with Take a Warrior Fishing, hanging out for a while. So if you're nearby, come check us out, man. Come holler. We'll be chilling there at their booth and might spend a little time at Carolina Waters as well, who's also set up there. He asked how big is, hold on, let me keep going.
Norman's like 47,000, 50,000. I think.
We fished Garcia. Yeah, Garcia looked good, man. How big is Jordan? You can still see the oval. Oh, that's on Garcia was a racetrack they flooded. Trey's in Florida fishing. Only 2 day cold. We had 39 days under 30. We've had more than 2 days of cold. It was cold all this week. Lake Norman is,
I think it's like 47,000.
1,090,000. No, that's acres, feet of water volume. I just saw acres and was like, wait a minute. 32,510 acres is Norman. So
Car might be.
Tim, do I only fish lakes? No, I fish the river more than I fish lakes. So for me, I fish the eastern North Carolina rivers, which are about to be exposed, unfortunately, in April when the elites come here.
It got a little bit exposed last year of MLF.
Yeah, but it wasn't that good.
Yeah, because they had
it was okay.
They had weird limits too.
Yeah, they did. They're coming here. The elites are going to fish that river system at the exact right time, and you really might see a century belt, especially where they're launching. They're launching a little bit further. So the parts of the river that I fish are about it's about a 60-mile run to the mouth of one of the rivers where they catch some of the biggest ones. And I don't make that run just because I'm not running that far to catch a bass in a tournament. I'll drive over there and fish it, but yeah, they're gonna show some stuff, man. The one thing that's gonna save us over there is there's not a lot of infrastructure, so there's not a ton of hotels. There's not really any Airbnbs. There's not many grocery stores. You could probably find as much meth as you need, but it's just not. It's an area that is absolutely beautiful. Reminds me a lot of Florida. Cypress trees, pads. As you get closer to the coast and the sound, you start to get that switchgrass or sawgrass, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, it's eastern. It's a lot of swampland.
Yeah,
that's why there's not a lot of.
It's super pretty, man.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of industry or work around there, so it's a pretty poor area. Generally speaking, you can buy. I've looked at land over there and considered buying a small piece. And putting a camper on it and a private boat ramp and then having my own place to go just because I love it so much over there. And I probably will do that someday. But yeah, Tim, that's where I fish most of the time. He said I need to retire my vintage one cast hat with a leather patch one. Ronald Singletary got the old one cast fish. I've got one somewhere in a bin that I swapped out for the newer one.
I got my mine's all sweat faded out. I got some of the patches somewhere, but I need to. We've only got like 4 of the podcast hats left. I think one color sold out. We got 2 of the other. I think the other colors
He
left.
said nothing around Doggy Land. One cafe, no phone signal, cow standing at the ramp. Sounds like my kind of place. I can actually go disappear. That's the biggest thing, small water. So I'm definitely gonna hit you up because when we talk about coming down there, we were talking about fishing headwaters. Trey and I were talking about maybe going to Okeechobee just because we've never fished it. Ben has fished it. But I know like headwaters and some of those other places, there's not a lot of places to stay. I've heard they're not the nicest areas. You may get your stuff broken into. So I'm going to hit you up whenever we're planning out trip next year and get some info on the area. So
I'm looking at these photos here at the Donkey Land Lake, right? Kenansville. I don't know where to begin. It all looks good.
That's what I said. Did you look at it on Google Earth?
Yeah, I looked on Google Earth, but now I'm just looking at people's snapped photos on the ground. I guess from the bank or from their boat and stuff. It's like
I got you.
I guess this is what will be fun about going down there again. Is I don't feel like when I went to the Harris Chain it was like this at all, but I hope the Kissimmee Tow is kind of that way. Is that you just put your head down and fish.
Yeah.
And then you just figure it out. You know. 360-degree fishing, yes.
Yeah, where you can fish all around you. Yeah. What do you fish up north, Tim? I know you're up north too. David Fuchs, and he fishes mud puddles, basically.
Mud puddles and ditches.
Yeah, he fishes lakes that don't even have boat ramps, so you can't use your big motor. I never even turn on a depth finder; it's all shallow. Yeah, I was looking at that one you sent us that you're calling Docking Land. It said the average depth is 3 feet, so you wouldn't need to turn graphs on for that, other than mapping. But there probably is no map of that lake, so
what's this?
It just look like you're driving around a field.
There's this canal off of Toho. I'm looking, and it just goes into the subdivision. It's got all these. It's just a massive canal pond system.
Probably loaded.
Oh, I'm sure after Wednesday, Thursday. Oh, I want to be in there looking around.
James says BBT fishing. Me now. No, they're
Invitational.
MLF Invitationals fishing it, not the BPT.
Yeah.
Florida depth finder. Dip the rod in the water, and if it's real deep, it means it's up to the reel. Yeah, that's fair, dude. That's fair. Other than, I guess, some of the rivers and feeding some of the lakes, there's not a whole lot of deep water in Florida. Where here, depending on the lake, you may, like Norman. I know I've caught them in like 70 or 60 foot of water when they're suspended up in like 30 foot. Norman, yeah. There's some 90-foot runs in Norman when you get out there in the main river channel. There's some areas that are like 90 feet. We use third eye, last eye. Wife knows all the codes. Yeah, it's about third eye deep. I like it. Mm-hmm. Best winter fishing. What's up, Frank? Best winter fishing is a 30-acre pond. What are you out there drilling holes, ice fishing, David? Somebody asked me today if I ice fished at work. I was like, well, not here. I mean, not doing a whole lot of ice fishing in North Carolina.
Nope.
But yeah, I'm looking forward. When you got to make some more jigs and stuff, man? I need to come over and help. It's been a while since we've had a good jig making day.
I've been making here and there, but like I don't have anything currently that I massively need to build. I gotta make up some bladed jigs, but like I already got those poured. I just gotta paint them and skirt them. So
are you gonna have a booth at the Classic next year, or are we just gonna go?
No, I plan on having a booth.
There you go. You heard it. Make your plans. Knoxville, Tennessee, Master Classic 2026. Come check out One Cast Fishing. All their full line of stuff will be there, and then the One Cast will be there hanging out. It's a great venue to go watch a classic. I'm definitely ditching Ben this year and going at least to weigh in one day.
Yeah. Well, how about we just all take turns one day?
Oh yeah, like I call last day then.
Oh, okay. That's not fair. We got to break down. No, that's fine. Yeah, but yeah, because none of us got to go away, and that's that's the problem when you have a booth and you're doing the expo thing is you don't get to. You can go watch the blast off because that's before the expo opens, but you don't get to go watch the weigh in over there.
Yeah,
just because even though most people clear out to go, there still may be people coming through.
It gets pretty dead at weigh-in time, but there's always still some stragglers. And Frank Duffy said fishing a crap hole city lake tomorrow. Wish we were fishing Mountain Island or Norman. Which city lake are you fishing, Frank? He said I used to watch.
Stacked.
Some of them are. Used to watch Ben making jigs on TikTok day after day. I know.
Yeah, that's when I used to probably hand tie them. When I was sitting there, that was always good. Just sit there and hand tie them, and people enjoyed watching that. Now it's every once in a while I'll still go live when I'm casting jigs or something, but it's a little less interesting now. What we do need to have a day together is we all need to either go up to the studio or here or just sit around and go live and package up all these new Nighthawks.
Yeah, we can do that. I was going to take some teaser pictures and leak them out there for the new colors coming here in a couple weeks.
Go for it.
Cane Creek and Waxhaw. I've never heard of that one. Sounds a little
living
rough.
in town of Okeechobee. Okay, Mickey D.
Be in line at Mickey D's. Be behind Van Dam.
There. I've stayed at the Holiday Inn down there is where I stayed at when I was down there in 2017.
I'm so ignorant. I didn't even know there was a town of Okeechobee.
Yeah, it's on the north side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which I didn't know anything about the lake, and I caught all my fish like Indian Prairie and south. So it probably would have been better to stay down in Clewiston, but it's okay.
How far was that run for you on that lake?
Probably 35, 45 minutes, depending on where you're going at.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's
hard for me to envision how big that lake is. I mean, you can see it from space, so it's giant. Just it's hard with never being there. It's hard to picture just how big it actually is. So one of these days I'm gonna make it down there and fish it. I just feel like that one gets hammered, and you're always going to be dealing with people or tournaments, or not that it's any different anywhere, but
one of these days I want to see somebody go out in the middle of that thing. It's not very deep, either maybe 10 feet out there. And there's probably bass living out there. They just got to get out there with their live scope and go find them.
Yeah.
So it's like a needle in a haystack too, because I don't think there's a lot of grass and stuff out there, but I'm sure there's fish out there.
He says run all their crappie charters on Okeechobee. Mm-hmm. He said everyone south runs north of fish and everyone up north runs south. That sounds about right.
Yeah, when I was there, the north side and the northwest side was really blown out. It was really chocolate milk. So
is that what drives which part of the lake's fishing better? Is wind? Like if it's predominantly a south wind, does the north get muddy and it's not as good? Or
yeah, as I understand it, and that's what a lot of the anglers talk about it, because it's so shallow too. The waves get pretty big, or it can. So it just pushes all that. And because it's so big, it just pushes. I think it's almost like a wind tide sometimes, depending on how strong the wind is.
He just said wind rules like Okeechobee, so makes sense. I watched a guy bluegill bed fishing on Lake O, and you couldn't see land in any direction. Yeah, so that guy found the bluegill beds in the middle. So there's some big old bass out there eating bluegill.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the days we'd fish and be about the only ones fishing. Now there's a line of fishermen to get on the lake. Yeah, it definitely has changed. It's not a bad thing,
No. I'm gonna grab something if I can find it.
Something else just got delivered to my house. What the heck's my wife ordering? Chelsea, oh, you're not on. You're at church. Yeah, so lakes are busy, man, but it's a good thing. It's good for everybody. Bait companies, it's good for us as anglers too. We may not realize it, but you got to have some people in the lake that are taking some fish, and it keeps us alive, because the anti fishing and hunting folks are looking for anything to grasp to. So if people stop fishing, they're going to say, well, why do we still need to have fishing? And things like that. So it's always good to have people. PETA, who knows, all the organizations now. Everybody hates everything, so
Small waters. You ever fish the Everglades? That'd be a fun time.
2 group charters is big. That does sound fun, man. I want to do the nighttime. I got a charter guy hooked up here local for Ben training me to go out and do a crappy day, and then we're going to record a podcast with him. Just because it's not something any of us have ever done a lot of, and he's a pro, so looking forward to that one coming here in the not too distant future. Yeah, that night fishing, man, I always thought it'd be super cool. I see guys post videos doing that night stuff with the lights, and you'll get those giant schools of bait that start swirling. Next thing you know, all the crappie are just in there eating. It looks like a lot of fun.
You just want a slight breeze to keep the mosquitoes off you.
He said we go to Everglades, catch bass, peacocks, cichlids, on all kinds of fish. Yeah,
that would be so awesome.
That's a lot of water to fish. I'm sure parts of it are off limits, though, right? Or if you can get to it by water, can you get to it?
You might find a big old anaconda, too.
Last charter, they caught over 100 with 56 keepers. Good night.
Wow.
Yeah, that sounds fun. What are you doing, pup? No, the old dog's looking at me. He probably wants his dinner. You guys have any bait modifications you care to share with us? Man, I don't tinker with baits a whole lot. Most of my top water hard baits, if it doesn't, I swap out the back treble for a feathered treble. I just feel like that makes a little bit of a difference. Other than shortening up the length on plastics, shaky heads, if I'm using like a traditional Zoom trick worm or something, the tail doesn't really float. I'll take a toothpick and shove it down in the tip, and then clip it off with a pair of nail clippers. And just that little bit of wood in the tail will help that tail stand up on your shaky head. I guess the biggest one I do, and there are going to be some people that are mad about this one, but you'll hear a lot of guys talk about losing fish on shaky heads. I know Ben has lost quite a few. So I will take my shaky head with the screw lock, and I'll cut it down so there's basically just one turn of the screw. I find that you get better hookups and you don't lose as many fish if you do that on a shaky head. And other than that, it's just dyeing. I like to dye. If I'm throwing a green pumpkin, a lot of times will like a little bit of chartreuse or red dye on the very tips of the craws, or the whatever you're throwing, the flanges there. I don't get real crazy. I know a lot of guys tinker a ton with baits, but that's just not me. I don't know.
Yeah,
Ben,
I don't do a lot of modifications. I'll trim my skirt on a jig or spider cut it, right, to kind of make that finesse cut. And then like maybe trimming legs on frogs and stuff, or that skirt material on frogs and stuff. But like I don't do a lot of modifications to my lures. I don't really, unless they're really terrible hooks, I don't even really swap out hooks on my baits either.
No, probably the biggest bait I modify the most is a buzz bait. And I have one here. So like a lot of times on a buzz bait, you'll see that rivet on the back will move. Yeah. So one of the first things I usually do is I'll take and straighten that wire out. I'll take that rivet off. I'll remove any BS's between the blade and that rivet. Sometimes you'll see them put like a steel ball or something in there. I'll get rid of that, and then I'll put it back on, bend it, and then take a pair of pliers. I don't know if you can see it here.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it's crimped. You can sort of see that it's crimped so that doesn't move. And what that does is when you're fishing a buzz bait, it'll push that metal on metal contact between the blade and the rivet. So if you can hear it.
Now that I got those
Can you hear the
911,
squeal? Can you hear the squeal?
yeah, I can hear it.
That squeal, there's something about that squeal on a buzzbait, man. And so that's a big one that I'll modify with them. I don't even know where this one came from. It's just been chilling in here forever.
Now that I got those ticker blade ones.
Yeah, now that I have the ticker blade, I don't, and he already crimps his stuff, and so I don't really do anything with my buzz baits anymore. Smallwater, so we sold everything we owned in NC, moved south, and just fish for fun and profit. Tiger blood, baby, winning. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's everybody's dream, right? Now look, we have mixed streaks made by Roland Martin in Headwaters parking lot. Stay in school, kids. Hey, man, you're living your best life. That's awesome. We're gonna live vicariously through you. We might have to get you on the podcast, tell some stories. Sometimes I'll add some BBs and frogs to get a little bit of noise in them. Yeah, I know a lot of guys will do that with frogs, add BBs. That's not something I've ever done. I could see where it'd be beneficial, especially, Jordan Lee gave away some big juice with frogs last year when he won the what was that, heavy hitters, when he was fishing those mats, and he took the legs off and he put the basically they look like the jig rattles into the leg slot so it would rattle on top of the pads. So that was a juicy thing I never would have thought to do. Or on top of the mat, sorry. I don't know if you remember when he did that, Ben. There were a lot of people that weren't very happy when he did that. I've heard of people doing the BBs too to help with casting distance on a frog. I don't know. I don't do a ton of modifications, I'll add wire to hooks on a jerkbait sometimes to get it deeper if I need to. Same with a crankbait. If I have now they make so many size crankbaits that dive to the right depths. Like you can get the little 2 3/4, 3-inch crankbait that'll dive 12 feet. Where back in the day, if it was that small, you couldn't get it to go more than 7, 8, maybe at the most. So I would add lead wire to those hooks to help get that down. I remember watching it wasn't an Elite back then. It was, this was probably
the 150s.
30 now. I'm 39 now. Elites have been 20 years. So yeah, it was probably the 150s. I was little, but I remember them throwing crankbaits, and they were trying to get them down to like 18 foot. And at the time, the deepest divers were like 12 foot. And I remember watching them throw them on those big 7-foot rods, and they were literally hanging over the edge of the boat and shoving their rod 7 foot down to the reel and winding so that their rod was down there and they could get that extra depth. Now, like I said, we have
that, and they would cast and open their reel up and then troll over.
Yeah.
So they can have you can get it deeper where you got more line out. So
yeah. What's going on, Nick? He said, "Big juice here. I might put a trailer hook on a spinnerbait." Yeah, we talked about it earlier, Frank. I don't run trailer hooks, but hey, man, if it works for you, I'm all for it. I'm trying to make mine to my truck antenna. I must have missed something.
Buzzbait. Put your buzzbait in the truck antenna.
Oh yeah, I've done that. The other thing I do is I have a little fan I keep in my office, and if I get a bunch of buzzbaits that aren't 911, I'll take them and I'll just tape them to my desk, and then I point this down at them and I turn it on and I close the door and I just let it run for a whole day while I'm at work. And you come back, you'll have them nice and wallowed out. I did the I did the truck antenna thing one time. Well, not antenna. I have if you've never seen the Diamondback truck bed covers, they have tie-off cleats on top of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I zip tied one to one of the tie-off cleats and then drove to work like 40 miles down US 1. And when I got there, the blade basically had like 1/16 of an inch of metal left because it had been wallering on there while I was driving 75 down the highway. So I don't do that anymore.
Well, I'm getting tired, man.
Long day in Greensboro. Yeah, I'm getting tired too, man. We're up in that hour time. So appreciate everybody jumping on. And yeah.
And some orders to knock out.
Get orders knocked out, get the boat packed up. Get ready to head south for however long you decide to stay.
Yeah, a week or two, something like that.
I'll be here, not flipping.
I'll take some pictures and videos of flipping so you can be jealous.
Yeah, definitely do. Definitely do. Yeah, appreciate you, Small Water. Appreciate everybody being on. Dave Fuchs said good luck for Ben. Glad y'all were able to jump on and chat tonight. Talk a little fishing. Talk about what's going on. And we will we'll see you next Friday. Maybe with Ben, maybe without him, depending on if he's able to call in from wherever he's at. Appreciate y'all helping us grow a culture of anglers, helping anglers one cast at a time.
Later, folks.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.